Hello, everyone. This is Coach Mike Ronchetti, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner right here from Indiana with us today. It's my pleasure to welcome TJ Jorgensen to the show today. Hello, TJ.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Excellent, sir. Excellent. And I'm looking forward to our next few minutes of conversations and learning a little bit more about you. So let's start this. Tell me an introduction about yourself. Tell me about your personal story a little bit, like where you're born, where you're living now, about your family, some hobbies. And again, if you want to think of a funny story along the way of people commenting about you or you commenting about life, tell me.
Yeah, sure. Well, as you said, my name is TJ. I've been in this business for all my adult life, over 35 years. I think the biggest thing that about me is that I'm pretty transparent, and for that, it actually creates some pretty funny stories. Um, I have seven kids, seven grandkids, an amazing wife who also works in media. And it's provided a pretty awesome background for who we are as a family. I have four adult kids and three kids. I guess, oh my gosh, I have to change that now. I have a daughter who just turned 18. I have five adult kids, Mike. I have to keep remembering that. And then still have a 17-year-old and an 11-year-old still in the house. But we live a very fast, fun, exciting life. We're constantly on the go. And we enjoy a lot of things outside of work. One thing I've always coached people, when I say coached, I mean give advice to people, is try not to be married to your job. Definitely have an affair with your job, but don't find yourself putting in 60 to 70 hours a week, because it could just lead ultimately to sadness. So I'm not saying you should put just 40 in also. I worked a lot of hours to get to where I am at today. But something kind of funny about me, I guess, is that I'm very much known for my sense of humor. I have a very passionate energy level. I'm addicted to one energy drink that I drink every single day, once a day, only one a day. I want to stay healthy. And people know that about me, so they're always teasing me about that. Like, you can see TJ hasn't had his Bang energy drink yet. He's just not quite awake. Just like many people have their coffee. Don't talk to me until I have my coffee. I'm the same way. Don't talk to me until I have my Bang.
Ah, not familiar with that, but again, there's a lot of good ones out there. I just didn't know that one's cool. You
Yep.
practiced the field of searching that, or is that a spontaneous thing?
You know what's funny is I think when it launched several years ago, I was switching off of Monster. There's just too much sugar in
Yeah.
Monster, and I tried it, and I don't know, I just became addicted to the flavor, and there was a lot of caffeine in it, and a lot of taurine, and it provides me an incredible boost. The equivalent would be 3 cups of coffee, is what I'm being told.
Uh,
So if you drink coffee, Mike, 3 cups of coffee, what that does to you, this is what mine does to me. I did miss one thing. You said, where do I live? I grew up in a small town of Bering Springs, and then actually born in Benton Harbor, then slowly worked my way south to Bering Springs.
uh,
And that's where I met my first wife, and where we spent a lot of time together raising a family. After we went our different ways, we remained very close friends. We still are to this day. She's actually in the hurricane down in Florida right now, so
oh,
I'm praying for her safety. And then we've been able to have a great family. I moved to South Bend, remarried, and continued on our lives. And because of my amazing wife, we have a great blended family, meaning my wife is a second mother to my boys and an amazing grandmother to our grandkids. And it's because of her that we have such an incredible family.
oh, that's so valuable as well as important to have the stability in your family life, let alone your work life. So, like you say, you commingle and have fun
Yep.
together. That's cool. I love your mantra of life. That's
Yeah.
great. So thank you for that great stories and background. Let's talk about your business a little bit. Tell us about the background of how you came about and at what point you had the confidence to start running a business on your own.
You know what? I always knew that I wanted to be Denzel. I didn't want to be the best supporting actor. I wanted to be the best actor. But it wasn't like I just saw it out from 18 years old. I want to be an entrepreneur. It wasn't quite that. But it's something I was just telling one of our new interns that's joining us. I was just telling her this morning. When I was 12 years old, I took my dresser, pulled all the drawers out, broke all the little rungs that hold the little shelf things that go in there. I broke them all out, tilt the dresser on its side, and slid a chair right under it, and that was my desk. From 12 years old, I wanted to work in business. I wanted to be that guy, and my sister was my assistant. We didn't have computers back then. This was the 80s, and I knew that I wanted to do that. I just didn't know what direction it was going to go. when I graduated high school and before going to college, I had an opportunity to work as entry level marketing assistant into a company called Birch Incorporated, which later would become the site of one of the Whirlpool branches. And I was given a task to handle JB Hunt Trucking and to work on a task for that. And I fell in love with marketing representation, and it was just fantastic. I fell in love with it immediately. So I wanted to devote my career to working in marketing and advertising and branding and things like that. So I
Mhm.
continue to do that for the next, wow, I guess if you look at it, 90s, 2000, 2010, I'm in my fourth decade. Sounds funny saying it that way, but that's where I'm at. And TJ21 was kind of born about 12 years ago. I was with a company that I had been for many years, over 10 years. And I always knew that there was something in the back of my mind that I wanted to be Denzel. And I keep using that because it's a perfect example. I could say Tom Cruise or somebody like that, Robert De Niro. But I knew I wanted to be that, and he did too, the owner of that company. So he wasn't upset. He actually helped me to get to this point. And one day I went to my wife and I said, I feel like he wants me to do this, man. And she's like, hey, I'm not going to question you. And of course, she was 9 months pregnant, so that was kind of a
Ah,
little tricky thing
inspirational.
there. But we went forward. We stepped out in faith, and it's been great. And the reason we are so powerful today is because of our incredible staff. If it wasn't for the people I surround myself around with, we would not be nearly as great.
Well, your company name, let's talk about that a little bit. How
Yep.
did you choose to do that? I always find that fascinating stories too.
Yeah, and it's actually this is a pretty cool story. When I this is a whole nother part of life, but I played baseball like like a lot of young boys in America. I grew up wanting to be a baseball player. Well, eventually your talent runs out and you're not going to be that 1% that's going to be a major league baseball player. So I got into playing slow pitch softball. And even starting on that, it was really hard to adjust from baseball to softball. But I, just like anything in life, I gave it 100% and worked hard at it. A few years later, I got really good at it, and then I was able to make a career out of that. And I met this guy that would go on to become the Babe Ruth of our sport, and he had this company he started, which was his name, his initials plus his number. And I thought that was kind of cool. So I was like, my jersey number was 21. So
Ah,
I was like, TJ 21. So it was actually born that TJ21. I actually would have armbands with it on. I had decals on my car years. I mean, we're talking 25 years ago. So TJ21 was already a thing, but I didn't know the direction it would go. So when we launched, my wife said, you should go with TJ21. So we went with TJ21 Media Group, and here we are. And
oh,
what's funny about
fantastic.
that softball story is actually an awesome kind of conclusion to that. I got elected into the Indiana State Hall of Fame probably 10 years ago. And then just last year, I got elected into the National Hall of Fame. And then here in a few weeks, I'm getting actually inducted into the National Hall of Fame. So that's pretty exciting.
Oh my God, incredible! I didn't realize that side of
Yeah.
your
That's what I say. It's a whole
yeah.
nother fun story.
Oh, as well as the travel stories, I'm sure were wonderful too. So,
We got some great times.
yeah, people are so wonderful in the sporting world. It's just so great. So for everyone listening, check out the company and the link in the description and comment on the LinkedIn page about your thoughts on the viewing and all that. So be aware it's right there below you and you'll find it. So great. So now we're going to change this complexion a little bit. Can we go a
Sure.
little bit more inward rather than outside and share a story where someone pushed or inspired you that you could do it and you had the and impacted you to make it happen.
Well, I probably will tell you two people. I in my world, you meet a lot of people, hundreds of people a week. However, early on, I think it was probably one of my supervisors at Birch that just said, "Hey, you have the ability to be something." Well, I'll say a controversial line, Mike. Outside of maybe an Albert Einstein or something, I don't believe that people are born with like they're born with that talent. Like you are natural born talent. I believe that's something that's created and cured and disciplined and built. Einstein born with an incredible brain. I'll give you that part. I don't believe that when LeBron James was born, they looked at him in the manger and said, this guy's going to be a superstar basketball player one day. I think he had the drive in him and he
Hmm.
became a great basketball player. Same kind of thing with me.
Yeah.
I think when this supervisor, this mentor met me, They knew at 18 years old, this guy's going to be somebody, but I knew I was very rough. I was young and very rough around the edges. So that person inspired me to stay focused, continue to use this high energy I have to, as my advantage. But the second part of that, and this is kind of lame because everyone probably uses this answer, but it's my wife. 20 years ago, she's the one that believed in me and said, you're way bigger than what you think you are. And that really inspired me. She's the one that continued to push me. And like most marriages, we push each other every day, both professionally and personally. But I don't think I ever would have took that step if it wasn't for her. She's been my strong motivation.
Wow, that's incredible that she's there as well as to this day you still honor that vision that she said you could reach it and you're still there because you're not
Yep.
you could have called off the idea of I want to do softball for example or I want to grow this firm bigger and bigger. Sounds like every day you wake up and say where can I jump higher to? So that's neat.
Mike, I'm a visionary. Every day I have 20 ideas, but I need to be able to have integrators to help make those ideas happen. Of those 20 ideas, four might be good,
Yeah.
and 16 maybe, yeah, we could work on those. But having someone, people on my crew that can say, TJ, this is great. We're going to really focus on this one, but keep plugging those other visions. Same with my wife. I'll have some great visions and she'll say, okay, let's work on these and see what we can do.
Always editors are really important in our life.
They are.
What's your biggest learning as a business owner then?
Patience. That's probably my biggest one. I'm one of those guys that just always I want it now. I remember one of the times I was getting a building or something, and I wanted everything now, and I signed the contract now, and I wanted to move in tomorrow. And the guy's like, "All right, give me about a week to clean everything out." The next day, I was like, "Listen, I'll bring a crew over. I'll move your stuff out." So, and I remember later on, he would tell me his name was Shakuri. I remember him saying to me, he never met anyone like me that just knew what he wanted and went after it. But the hardest part is that sometimes you just have to be patient. And that's been something very hard for me to do. You can tell I'm a pretty energetic guy and I want stuff done. I want it done now. I have to learn to take a step back and let things happen.
Good for you as far as respecting learning on your own grounds, but at the same time getting it done. So good.
Right.
So we know that business successes doesn't seem to happen in isolation. What we find is that people find themselves in circumstances. Tell us about your biggest challenge during the years and a possibly fellow business owner who helped you get through those challenges.
Um, Again, I'm going to take kind of easy way out. COVID was definitely a challenge for everyone.
Oh,
But I'll tell you, probably being just an owner with staff, knowing that you make a difference on their livelihood. One of the most difficult things, and as being a business owner, not just of TJ21, but other businesses over the years, one of the hardest things is to be a boss. It's not something that I would ever, if I could go back in time, I'd say, can I do this without having to do this? I love what I'm doing today, but it doesn't come without many, many challenges. And I've reached out to fellow CEOs and from large corporations that manage hundreds of people to people that, to organizations that might manage two or three and just say, well, how do you deal with this? And how do you deal with that? And because of my learning over the years, I've been able to be that guy that says, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? And my biggest thing that I've kind of have run into and how I've persevered through that is realizing that you play a role in their lives. And as much as I would love to, for every one of my staff members to make hundreds of thousands of dollars and never have to worry about electric bill or any and not have to worry about things like that, we live in a world where we still need finance to be able to do it. And that's where I get into that point where I think about a lot of these billionaire organizations, and you have billionaires just making money hand over fist, but yet they're paying people, $10 an hour or something like that. That's a whole nother discussion for another time. My point is that managing people, sitting down with someone when you have to make a cut and let them know that, hey, we're gonna be removing your position, and knowing that you just flipped their life upside down. How are they going to pay their bills this week? How are they going to pay their rent? And that's a very difficult thing. So something I've learned is how to deal with that, how to talk with people, and how you have to eventually move on past it.
thank you for expressing it that way as well as showing us that side of where your path has led you. Let's talk about your future path. As you think about the next 1 to 3 years or so, what's the number one point of growth or challenge you're going to have to achieve some goals?
We want to grow in a way with our current clients. We want to be able to continue to provide them with the best service we can. Obviously, take on more clients is great, but we want to scale it carefully. If we have to, the last thing I want to do is overtax our staff where I'm saying, all right, guys, it's mandatory 60 hours a week now,
Mhm.
but you're not going to get paid anything more or anything like that. I don't want to do that. I said earlier in your interview that you don't want to be married to your job. Our director of marketing is incredibly hardworking. She'll be up. Last night she was up till 10 o'clock working on a project, and I have to continue to remind her, put it away, spend time with your family, spend time with your husband and with your kids or whatever it may be. I don't want our staff working 60 hours a week. When they leave here at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, unless we have an evening shoot or something, I want you to not think about work. Deal with it tomorrow morning when it comes in. Obviously, if a client has an emergency, we'll deal with that.
Sure.
But I need you to focus on being the best you can be. Okay. So, with that said, it's important that I don't just take on a bunch of clients without the ability to be able to handle those clients in a way that's going to make everyone happy, not just profitable. So we want to continue to grow with the current clients we have, provide the best service we possibly can, and then see where life takes us.
Okay, but it sounds like you're also your team might be growing with more people if you need to in that area. Is that a fact, or am I missing
Yeah,
anything?
I mean, we have to be able to afford that. We brought on just a new intern, excuse me, today, and we're always looking for opportunities, but it's not like we can afford that. Just like every small business in America, you got to work with what you currently have. So
Yep.
if we brought on some more clients that allowed us to be able to handle that growth, without a doubt, I'm not going to tax our current employees. I'm going to bring in people to help make that happen.
Got it. Got it. Cool. Same future thought, maybe a little bit different angle. Jim Rome is a business coach legend in my industry, and he passed away just a couple of years ago. But his work is still incredibly fruitful as well as plentiful of accuracy. We become the average five people we spend the most time with. He's told me. As you think about this, what advice do you have for business owners who want to try doing it all on their own?
My mother passed away from cancer a couple years ago, and she was very energetic. Like most people, she was my hero. It wasn't Michael Jordan or anybody like that. My hero was my mother, and there was something she always said to me that stuck with me. She said, "TJ, as your business is growing, whether that's TJ 21 or anything else, always surround yourself around people that are smarter than you."
Mhm.
Then you have other people might say, always be the smartest one in the room. I disagree with that second part. I don't think it's important to be the smartest one in the room. Yes, it's important to know what's going on. Don't enter into a contract agreement without knowing what's going on. Use that same theory that I just brought up and go with my mother's advice. Surround yourself with someone who knows more than you. Let's have an attorney take a look at that contract.
Mhm.
I have people around me that are extremely smart, that know what they're doing, and they have the ability, the talent, the skill, the education, the training to be able to do that project. And honestly, they'll do it better than me. I surround myself around people that are going to be better. So that's my advice to anybody going forward. Surround yourself with a team of winners. You know that old saying, Mike, when you usually tell it to your kids, you are the people that you're surrounding yourself around. I was that same kid that surrounded myself around the wrong element. And it wasn't until I had a mentor later that as part of the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, which saved my life. I know the story another time. That mentor is the one that said, listen, you are the people you surround yourself with. So I'd say that as an adult, you are the people you surround yourself around with. So put yourself around winners. You'll be a winner yourself.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. So it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people, TJ, who have helped you on your journey. What would you like to say to them?
Well, I've been kind of working on my Hall of Fame speech for a couple weeks from now, and it's the same kind of question, but different kind of answer, obviously, because that'll be more sports and how I've gotten to that part. But the same kind of premise. you know, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people I've surrounded myself around. The mentors, both personally and professionally, teachers. Uh, One of my daughters wants to become a teacher, and I'm so excited for that. Whether teachers are making great money, or if you have the ability to go make bigger money doing business or marketing, or less money being a teacher, I'm so impressed because a teacher is a true hero. It's those people that are molding the minds young and creating the pathway for success. So I would say thank you to my teachers that have helped make that difference, to those mentors that pull me aside and say, you know what, you can become something really big. And
Mm.
obviously to people like my wife who constantly pushes me every day.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So, TJ, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it very much.